We're going to be modifying a factory sending unit, putting a Walbro electric fuel pump onto it. I have the fuel pump, and I've got to order a different sending unit than this one, which, yeah, I'm going to clean all this up too. All right, guys, so this morning we are in the shop. We're working on fuel system right now. We're still waiting on our fuel lines and our regulator and all of our AN fittings. All that stuff's coming in one big package. Hopefully that'll be coming in early this week. But right now, what we're going to be doing today is sending units. So we've got a factory sending unit here that we got from BJ's. You can get these just about anywhere, but I wanted to make sure that we got a good one that's going to be accurate, that's going to be dependable as far as the fuel gauge goes. And I trust ordering one from BJ's versus just a random eBay store. It was 50 bucks, so not too bad. Now, this is not the correct one for this Wagoneer. This is an 89. I'll show you the difference when we get it out. This is an 89. This is for 84, 85. And in 86 and up, they are different style. The difference is the ohms. The ohms that the meter sends out. That's the only difference. That and the style, but they'll all fit. But the fact that we're running Dakota digital gauges allows me to be able to use this one, because Dakota digital, you pick which setting you need. So if we weren't doing Dakota digital, we would have a little bit of an issue there, but that's going to allow us to be able to run this style. And the reason we want to run this style is because of the fact that the ohm meter is up here. On the 89s and stuff like this one, it's down here on the pickup tube. But these up here is going to free us up, because what we're going to do is we're going to modify this for an electric fuel pump to have an intake pump. So we're going to, you got a 1/4 inch line and you got a 5/16 line. Now, I want to talk about this for a second. 5/16 is good for up to about 350 horsepower. They say after 350 horsepower, you want to jump into 3/8 fuel line. I run 3/8 fuel line on my Super B, and on the factory 2008 Hemi, which is rated at 345 horsepower, they run 5/16 fuel line. Really a combination of 5/16 and 3/8. So we could, in theory, probably run this as is, and it would be fine. We've got a 1/4 inch return line, 5/16 feed. In theory, it would probably be okay. But I also believe that we are right at that mark that the SRT manifolds are going to give us a little bit of power. I'm not going to say they're going to give us like 100 horsepower, but they're going to allow the engine to breathe. It's going to run better. But in the future, if we did swap to like eagle heads or did any kind of modification, I just believe there's the possibility. Right now, I would much rather run 3/8 fuel line. I would just feel a lot better about having that, knowing that our fuel system is never going to be limited in that way. And the only place that 5/16 exist on this fuel system, when it's all said and done, is going to be right here. So what we're going to do is, we have a Walbro fuel pump. I talked to the guys at Sublime, which was, I guess kind of still is, DIY Hemi, but they've changed the name to Sublime Technologies. This is the fuel pump they recommend. It's just a good universal fuel pump, 255 LPH. The GSS 340 is the one that you want to order. Walbro, you see, is 112 bucks straight from them. That's from Walbro, now out of Florida. So we've got this fuel pump. What we're going to be doing is attaching the electric fuel pump to this. Now, to do that and make it all work, the 5/16 line that's going to become our return. The 1/4 inch line, we're going to cut it off and drill this out here and here to fit our 3/8 fuel line. So we got a piece of 3/8 off of a old Holly 4-barrel that used to screw in, so I just chopped it there, we'll cut this off somewhere in here once we get in and see how long it needs to be. But we're going to be putting the 3/8 fuel line where the 1/4 inch is currently. That's going to run down. We'll be attaching our electric fuel pump to this. We'll have to drill a hole right here, and then the wiring for our fuel pump will come out that hole, seal all of that stuff up, and boom, you've got an electric fuel pump that will drop right into the tank, and the gauge will plug right up. The gauge is the same as far as the connectors, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll just have to run our power wire to the front to turn the pump on, and all will be well. Now there's obviously a little bit more math and measuring and stuff you got to do in the process, but that's what we're going to be doing today. And so the goal is get the sending unit done and in the tank today. And then once our fuel lines get here, because they're coming USPS, and USPS tracking is impossible to know exactly where your stuff is. So we don't know. They can show up today for all I know. Who knows? But once the fuel lines get here, we'll show you kind of what we did there and what we've ordered. Super simple. We're not trying to change the game on this. We're just trying to keep it as simple and as dependable as we possibly can. So I'll walk you guys through everything you're going to need to do this conversion. I didn't come up with this, but on the full-size Jeep forum, I've seen a couple of people do this. They've had it done for years. Works great. It's an easy thing. Yes, you can buy from Novak. You can buy this same sending unit with an electric fuel pump on it, but they don't swap to a bigger 3/8 line. You still have a 5/16 fuel line, and it's like $400 or $500 for it. I'm going to have less than $200 in this right here, and I'm going to have a 3/8 fuel line that I'll be able to go if I do ever boost the power up on this thing in some way, which I don't think we will, but if we want to, we can. We'll know that our fuel system is going to be there and be good for it. So anyway, let's get to work. So step number one, obviously we got to get this 1/4 inch out. Now keep in mind, once the grinder touches it, it's yours. No more warranty. So, so I've never done this before, but it's pretty straightforward. All right, it's ours now. Now, this is a 5/16 that I got in here now. I'm gonna step my bits up though and go small to large so I don't just, run the risk of just absolutely going nuts, and I wanna ease my way out of my holes. All right, guys, so we're in there. I didn't film myself drilling any of the holes because it's pretty self-explanatory. I think I started with 7/32 and just went all the way up to 3/8. It was a little bit too tight to fit in with a 3/8. I don't know if it's just chrome plating or what it was, but I just took my little air Dremel and just barely went around it one light time, and it allowed me to get it down in there. It's nice and tight. We got both, but we got lost a little bit of material here where it normally looped around, but it's still in there tight. And so you guys can just see essentially what we've got here. Now, obviously, this is going to get trimmed off where it needs to be when we fit our measurement for the pump, and we may twist it or move it up or down or something like that, but it's in there right now. So now we move on to getting it fastened in there. Okay, so you can see the difference here. This is Termite's original fuel sending unit. You can see that the reader for the fuel gauge is down here on the pickup tube. Now, you can make this one work. Like it's possible, because we would just leave this as it is, drill this out, put a 3/8 here with a pump, and all would have been fine. It's no issue. These are just a little bit easier. You got a little more room for the pump and whatnot, and they're cheaper. They're a little bit cheaper. So you're going to be hacking and cutting it up. So I just went with a little bit cheaper option. But this is doable. Like, it's totally doable. You just have to remove this 1/4 inch and run it down, and you're there. So if you're still going to use your factory dash and fuel gauge and stuff like that, this one's certainly doable. Matter of fact, I was just going to modify this one because it's like I've already got it. Why not just go ahead and do this one? But I don't know. Just wanted to try something different. So you got this one. So I do like the fact that this one has a little bit of support down here on the hose, just to give you a little bit of added security there. But this one is certainly modifiable. But I don't know what difference this makes. It may not make any difference at all. My other reason was that if this becomes my return line, it puts my return way down into the bottom of the tank, not up high. Don't know if that makes a difference or not. I just kind of wondered how would that allow the fuel to be able to return back. Could it do it as easily as it will with it being up higher? Maybe you know physics or how fluid does and stuff like that. Maybe you know more than I do. I don't know. But I was just kind of looking at all that, and I was like, I don't know how well. Plus, this is an old sending unit. This is the original sending unit. So, these are $50. It was worth a shot. So anyway, now that you see the difference between the two, we're going to, but they have the same connectors on top. You get the same hookup. So that's going to run, like I said, up to the Dakota Digital, and all's going to be fine. So now we're going to fasten get our hose all adjusted, and we're going to get it fastened to the plate and get that secure. All right, to set your fuel pump height on your feed tube, because it's just gonna have a rubber hose that goes from the pump to the tube. So you've got adjustability there. All you got to really do is you want to measure from the bottom of the tank to the make sure you're good in the bottom, to the top right here where the plate's gonna set down. And we're looking at about 11 to 11 1/8. Probably, I'm gonna go with 11 1/8. It's got a little bit of gas to it. About 11, probably about 11 1/16 from the bottom of the tank to that flat where the plate to the sending unit is gonna match. So now all we have to do is we'll measure the original sending unit, kind of see where that kind of had it, and when we put our pump on, we want to make sure, we don't want the pump laying on the bottom of the tank, but we do want, I'm going to say 1/4 of an inch to 3/8, somewhere around in there, off the bottom. Now on these tanks, this is the lowest part of the tank is right up under there, but we just want to make sure that there's enough room for fuel to set under there, but we do want to make sure that we can get all the fuel that we can get. So we're looking at about 11, we'll call it 11 1/16 is what we'll split the difference to be. So now we'll go over here and measure our fuel pump. All right, so we are welded in. I just did a couple of tacks around the top just to kind of hold it, but I can pull and do as strong as I want to, and it's there. So what we're gonna do now is take JBA tank weld, or JB tank weld, and we're just gonna kind of roll us out some little worms and go around this, probably go up under here, go around here, and then just bring this inside and let it set overnight, let that cure up real good, and that should hold this in here permanently. Should be good to go. The other thing you have to do is, I'm going to be running AN fuel lines, so I'm going to have a pressure fitting on here that's going to transfer this into an AN line. So you got to cut that flare off of this one so that the pressure line can seat there good on that. So I just cut all that off. I've been cutting everything just with a good so you don't have so many burrs and nasty mess and stuff like that to have to clean it. But if you do, make sure you clean everything. It's all smooth and all that good stuff. So that's what I'm gonna do now. She's tacked, she's in there, and now I'm gonna get JB Weld put on all of that so that can set up. This stuff's got a 4,000 PSI strength, so should be able to hold that. I mean, the tack welds are going to actually be what holds it, but this will kind of help seal and hold it firm. All right, guys, so you can see I kind of got it JB welded there, around, under the bottom, and then on there as well. So hopefully you can see that. I can't really tell what you can see or not, but anyway, got a nice clean B to JB weld around all joints. The tack weld is going to actually be what holds it in. This is just going to kind of help seal it. And then once that's done, we'll have to drill another hole for the electrical wire, and this is what we'll actually use to seal where our wire for the pump's going to come up. We'll use this, and then we'll probably put a coat of that around all these joints as well, just as an extra precaution to keep it from leaking. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. It's done. We got this plug. That's just one I got it at O'Reilly's, just on the shelf. Dorman makes them. The female end to it is right there. You can see there's the pack. Just your regular good waterproof plug. Soldered it in, heat shrink it all down. I know the goop is messy looking. I don't really care. You're not going to see it. The big thing is more, you know, function over form on this. But I just put enough around there and on the bottom just to make sure it didn't leak. This stuff is far fuel. We've got the old feed line chopped off to be our return. I guess you could cut that off just about anywhere you wanted to. That was the easiest spot to cut. But yeah, the plug and the filter come with the pump if you get the kit. So get the kit because it comes with that plug. Runs it right up through. We got heat shrink and everything should be good to go. So that is our sending unit done. All we got to do now is drop it in. And when our AN lines get here, we'll have pressure fittings that will go on these two. And then AN, A6 lines are going to come off of that. And we'll plug up that till we'll run us a wire, a ground wire, and a hot wire to the front. That'll plug into that. And she's good to go. We left about, it's close to 1/4 of an inch off the bottom of the tank is the distance that I have there. So that ought to be enough to allow fuel to stay under the bottom. You don't want it slammed onto the bottom. That's going to kind of restrict your fuel flow. You want it up just a little bit. So got about 1/4 of an inch there to allow the fuel to come through there. So sending unit is done. All right, y'all, we're getting ready to start running some fuel lines. So this is kind of, and it was neater than this when it arrived. I've just kind of gone through it. But we ordered everything through Hot Rod Fuel Hose. Ad on Facebook. It showed up. Clicked on it. I was, shopping for hose. You know how your phones are listening to you. So these guys pop up. This is a kit. Comes with everything you need, and it's for an LS. This is called an LS Swap fuel kit. Now, the good thing is everything out there is advertised as LS. But when it comes to stuff like this, Hemis need the same exact fuel pressure that LSs do. 58 PSI is what you need coming to the rail for like a stock setup. So this is advertised for an LS, but it will work on the Hemis as well. So what you have is you have your AN 6 line is what we have. Comes with 20 feet of that. And you can collect different colors and all this kind of stuff. I just went black. Comes with a huge assortment of different fittings. It's got these hardline fittings that will connect it here to the hard lines on the sending unit. It's got a quick connect somewhere in here that is for the regulator. You got this one here. No, it's 5/16. That's for the regulator. This one here, 3/8. One for the regulator and one for the factory fuel rail on the Hemi. So that will click right to the fuel rail, and then we'll have obviously line come off the back of that. And then in the middle, you've got this regulator. This is just a factory Corvette fuel regulator. This will regulate your fuel to 58 PSI. I'm not sure which Corvette it comes on. I want to say it's the early 2000s. But this is a common thing to do with Hemi swaps, LS swaps that require 58 PSI. We are running the Walbro pump. And so this right here is you can go to the parts house and get this, and it will regulate it to 58 PSI. So that's just a simple thing to do there. And then of course we got a bag full of clamps and stuff that comes with the kit and all. And I added it up, and it was not like crazy cheaper, but all the reviews say these are really good parts. Everybody who's used them, and some like, hey, it's a whole kit. Everything I needed was there. So why not? It's just easy. A lot of times it boils down to easy. But these dudes do have seem to have a good review as far as their parts goes. So all the stuff looks nice and neat. It's got, you know, their stuff on it, whatever. So yeah. So all right, I've got the frame rails cleaned up. I got them primed. I'm finna paint them, and then we're gonna start pulling some fuel line. All right, so we got the plug, the female end of the plug, soldered in, heat shrink on it, grounded it right here to the frame, and running the power wire into the factory taillight loom. Andrew's getting dirty, tucking wire in, so we're getting there.
It stinks.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Yeah, it does. Guys, I was gonna show you something that if I had to do different, what I would do. If you're gonna modify a sending unit like I did, I ran mine straight, but as you can see, I'm really crowded here on these quick connects. So if I had to do it again, I would angle this one over just a little bit, just to give yourself a little more room. I'm gonna be able to do it, but it would just, I mean, just a little bit, maybe 15, 20 degrees over to where this line can run out and go like it's gonna go. But I would angle that one just a little bit to give you some more room in here. All right, guys, so, you know, here's transfer case back here. Fuel lines just follow the rail. I got them mount here. That was a factory fuel line mount. I kind of bent it to where it wasn't just pinching this line, but it's holding it snug. And then got these quick connected in. Regulator, used one of the original fuel line retainer holes and bolts. And then we got a quick connect here, runs that little clamp and runs right up to the fuel rail. So that's kind of what our undercar looks like. And all right, well, we see our line coming up. I'm probably gonna end up putting something on this stud here just to kind of hold that line still, but it's there. Comes over to a 90 quick connect onto the fuel rail. So all that's there. I took a battery, took termite hole battery, and got up under there with just some just alligator clamps and tested the pump. Did it before I hooked the regulator up, just so I could flush out anything that was in the line from cutting it and stuff like that. Flushed out all the line, and then hooked everything up and pressured it up. And so it pressured up, fuel pump shut off, and it run for a second and shut off, and has been sitting overnight. Just kind of keep checking it. So far, I don't see any leaks, but you know, that's just kind of a preliminary check. We'll keep an eye on it. We won't know for sure till we actually get everything up and actually can prime it up real good a few times. But just wanted to make sure nothing's going to just flat blow off, but it didn't. So Andrew and Dudley's over here doing Andrew and Dudley stuff, and so we got a fuel system. So we have fuel to the engine, and so now I am about to start cutting that heater box up to go back in this spot right here. And we just got a shipping notification that our socket for the hydro boost has been shipped. So once that comes in, we'll get the hydro boost on. So we'll start making some progress here. So anyway, guys, give us a like and a subscribe. Thank y'all as always for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Do it again. No. Do it again. Wesley and Dudley stuff.
Hold on. I'm gonna pause and come back and show you. I think it's in here. Maybe out here. Golly, tripping over junk everywhere. We got too much stuff in here.